Hey, Think Realty, Eddie Wilson here, the founder of Think Realty, and super excited to be on the podcast with you once again. It's my privilege to always host these and bring great guests to you. We've got a great guest today. We'll get to that in just a second. Today's episode is sponsored by CV3 Financial Services. When you're taking on a new real estate investment project, having a trusted lender is key. Count on CV3 for your fix and flip, rental, cash out, or rate and term refi needs. Visit cv3financial.com/Think Realty. That's cv3financial.com/Think Realty. We have a special guest today that is involved in a very unique platform that I'm excited for her to talk about. Stella, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today. Welcome on.
Thanks for having me, Eddie. Super excited to be here.
Very cool. I love the background. The Golden Gate Bridge is just a beautiful backdrop there.
And so I'm here.
Yeah. So you are located in the Valley there?
Yes,
Very good.
I'm born and raised in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Had a little bit of the East Coast when I went to school in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. Decided I didn't like weather all that much, so I'm back in the Bay.
Back in California. Very cool. Well, let's talk about the platform. If you don't mind, tell us what Fractional is and kind of explain all that you're doing, and then we'll jump into the various pieces of that.
Yeah, sure. So, the company we run, the platform, is called Fractional. You can find us at fractional.app. And really what we're building here is, one, the community for like-minded investors to be able to meet each other, collaborate, and eventually become business partners to co-own investment properties together. And, we would like to streamline that entire partnership process where, on top of just the connections, we're actually handling everything back office, where we will help the group of investors set up their LLC, do identity verification, all the operating agreements, business banking, to then, helping them run the day-to-day aspects with, bookkeeping, tax filings, K-1s, profit distributions. So really a one-stop shop for people to, meet other folks they want to build wealth and own real estate with, and handling everything that is, traditionally complex and likely going over people's heads. So, they can focus on what's more fun, which is the investing aspect.
Very cool. So what is the primary asset class you're dealing with in Fractional? Is it single family, multifamily? Is it vacation rentals? Like what specific are you guys touching?
That's a great question. So as a platform, we're actually open to any sort of investment. And that's, part of the magic is, all the deals and opportunities that users on the Fractional platform are doing, it is all sourced by members of the community, right? So we as a company, Fractional, we're not finding deals and telling people, hey, you should buy this, you should buy that. It's all, maybe Eddie, you come across a property, right? It could be a single family home, maybe it's apartment, maybe it's self-storage, right? Whatever it is that you think is really interesting, that you will love to find other partners who can bring the capital, bring complementary skill sets, and build a team together with you to buy that together. So we're open to anything as a company, and it's really just up to what the community is interested in working on.
Wonderful. So would this be similar to a kind of tech-enabled syndication platform where you've got a bunch of people that are putting an offering out there and syndicators coming in and funding it, and then there's kind of like an operating structure in it? Is that kind of the basis of this, to try to take it all the way down to like our real estate investors and how they contextualize this?
Yeah, it is similar. I would say it is more it's closer to joint ventures rather than syndications, because we do expect the group dynamic to be more active amongst the members. So, everybody is kind of bringing their superpower to the table. Everyone is more involved in the decision making, rather than in a traditional syndication. There's usually, a very small group of GPs who are calling all the shots, and then everyone else is more of a silent investor. So Fractional is more focused on joint ventures and having a tech-enabled and community-driven aspect of that.
That's awesome. I love the kind of idea coming. It's interesting because like the genesis of a lot of this was, I remember seeing maybe 4 or 5 years ago where big vacation rentals just almost got like too expensive for one person to buy. So 4 or 5 people would like fractionalize an asset and they would do it, but it was also very, it was difficult because there wasn't a tech platform to kind of handle all of that. So they'd have to go get their own lawyer. They'd have to fractionalize. They'd have to build an operating agreement. They kind of dictated. So it seems like that's the genesis. It seems like now this is the evolution where it's like, okay, let's actually handle all of this for you, which I love it. And I love it that it's agnostic to a type of asset class because really you could fractionalize anything. Do you have any case studies or maybe some deals that you could talk about of maybe that some of your members have done here in the recent in days?
Yeah, definitely. I can actually talk about a project that I recently led just, with my investor hat on.
Okay.
So I was out there, wanting to get into the DC market, which is a brand new market that I'm in. So even though, I've invested in Atlanta and Dallas and I know how to underwrite deals, but I've never invested in DC, right? And I saw a really cool opportunity and, wanted to get other people to fact check me, see if this is actually a good deal, and then, potentially move forward on it. So what we did is we hosted what we like to call a deal dive within the fractional community. It's pretty much a Zoom session where anybody who is interested about just, looking at a deal live together in the same virtual space, we all jump on. We were sharing and trading notes about what we knew about the DC market, what's promising about it, pulling up Google Maps, looking at Street View. We got this whole Excel spreadsheet on there where, we're trying to calculate, what's the annual cash flow? What's the cap rate, cash on cash, all of those things. And it was actually such a great chat because while we were looking at the map, another investor on the call pointed out to me and he was like, "Hey, Stella, did you notice that the DC Housing Authority building is literally right across the street from this, 5-unit apartment that we're looking at?" And I was like, "No way. Maybe we should consider doing this as, Section 8, right? Like that could be a really interesting strategy." And I actually didn't, connect the dots earlier. So that was like a really pivotal point in the conversation. We started underwriting, the rent comps just based off of what, DC housing vouchers are. And, ended up being a really great deal. And all of us on the call felt really excited. So we had around 9 people partner together. We pulled together around 320K in cash and, bought that 5 units. So now we're, having all the units rented out, the government is paying pretty much, all the vouchers and it's quite stable. And it's also so great that, it's bringing value to the community as well, just as an affordable housing project. So that I felt like was a really great home run that just, started with an idea and a call. And now we're business partners on this deal together through the platform.
That's awesome. I love it. It sounds like some of the big benefits of the platform are the community. I mean, you think about like all these real estate investors that maybe they want to invest outside of their marketplace, or maybe they just don't have a lot of experience yet, but they have the capital. Sounds like your deal dive is a really great place for them to learn and experience what's going on, see how people underwrite deals. Sounds like the community is a huge benefit to this.
Yes, exactly. Like a lot of newbie investors, right? I think that 0 to 1 is really hard, right? Honestly, I get it. It was really overwhelming for me as well, where, you feel like you're going to put all your life savings into one property and just fingers crossed it's not an absolute shit show, right? Like that is very intimidating for a lot of investors. So, really it's like, how do we change that around? And you can really get that from the fractional community because now you go to the deal dives, you're learning with other experienced investors and you're like, "Hey, this sounds good. Like, I want to try it out. Let me partner with these other people. Let me invest just $5,000, right?" And then now you actually learn by doing, not with, a whole, ton just on the line, right? And it's really that 0 to 1 that unlocks so much for people where they now, have all this real life experience to then go from 1 to 100.
Interesting. I run a community that does a lot in the self-directed IRA space. And this is one of the big issues is most of them want to invest, but most of them, they have maybe, $15,000, $20,000 in their self-directed IRA, but they don't have huge dollars. And it sounds like fractional would be a great place for people that are growing their IRAs that maybe don't have 100 grand or 200 grand to put into a single asset could find deals that they could invest in out of their self-directed IRAs.
Yes, exactly. We work with investors who have a SDRA all the time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because it's one of the hardest things to do is to find deals small enough that you could invest your whatever you have in your IRA, 15,000, 20,000. So that sounds like a really great application for that as well. What are you seeing in the marketplace? So you're seeing a lot of people come together in the community. They're looking at deals. Do you see any kind of focus right now? Because it is an interesting real estate market. You've got interest rates that potentially could drop. You've got low housing inventory. We're in an election cycle. I mean, it's just kind of a crazy time right now. So, what are you seeing generally in the marketplace?
Yeah, it definitely changes, with seasonality, with a cycle and just where the market is at. I would say right now, there are a lot of savvy investors within the community. So people have been really big on creative financing lately,
Mhm.
just, because of high mortgage rates that you mentioned, right? So obviously people do want to cash flow, right? That's especially important in a partnership as well, where, people don't want to be forking out cash with other folks, right? So, they're looking at sub two deal, seller financing. So yeah, I think that's another powerful part of the community is like you can learn a lot of new things just working with really smart people. Like I honestly did not know how sub two worked until this year when I started seeing
Mhm.
people doing it on the community. And I'm like, wait, what is this? You can get 3.5% mortgage rate right now? Like, how does
Mhm.
this work? So
Sure.
yeah, lots. I think it's always changing, but right now, definitely creative financing is a huge one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you seen many kind of like I would say alternative classes like you know assisted livings, storage units, like anything like that? Have you seen any of those starting to populate on the in the community and deals like that getting done?
Yeah, we have seen that assisted living. We had a project leader based out of LA talk about that a few weeks ago.
Hmm.
Self-storage is another one as well. And then more recently, we even had folks talk about, buying a space and kind of running it as a mailbox store, which is, not directly real estate, but, definitely tangentially related. So yeah, it's honestly just really awesome seeing how, creative people can be and, find value in wanting to have other partners to do it together with them.
Sure. I love it. Any advice that you'd give to real estate investors out there right now? Maybe somebody that's kind of dipping their toe in the water, just kind of as closing thoughts, some advice for them.
Yeah, I would say honestly, plug yourself right in, right? Like take the deep dive, come and learn from what other investors are doing. And really at some point you got to just pull the trigger. There's not really any better way than learning than, actually just doing it. And hopefully with fractional, we're de-risking that and making it a lot easier too. But yeah, I would really say just, sink in, right? Lean in, work with other people where you feel like they've got your back and you have really great relationships and trust with them and, leverage a family and a tribe of investors that, you feel really connected with and scale yourself that way.
And one more time, how do they find the app?
Our website is fractional.app.
Okay, fractional.app. Thank you so much. And I guess you guys are probably very active on social as well.
Yes, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all there.
Stella, thanks so much for being a part of the show today.
Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Absolutely. Think Realty Nation, thanks so much for being a part of the show today. As I always remind you, there's really two things you need to keep in mind. Number one, real estate is a game of inches, not miles. Inches meaning it's not a short-term get-rich-quick scheme. You've got to have a 20-year plan. You need to be thinking about real estate long-term. Number two, real estate is a team sport. The bigger team you can put around you, the more successful you're going to be at it. If you're alone and you're isolated, oftentimes that's when deals go bad. And that's what I love about the platform you just heard about, Fractional, because it's a place where you can find that team. They can support you. They can help educate you in the areas that maybe you are not well versed in. And you can essentially take down, you can fractionalize your risk. If you're investing with other people that know what they're doing, then it kind of de-risks some of the big pieces of real estate, which is always the unknown. Thanks so much for being a part. Let me say a quick thank you to our sponsor one more time before we jump off. Today's episode is brought to you by CB3 Financial Services. When you're taking on new real estate investment projects, having a trusted lender is key. Count on CB3 Financial for your fix and flip, rental, cash out, or rate and term refi needs. Visit cb3financial.com/think realty, cb3financial.com/think realty. And one last thing, if you haven't already been part of our Think Realty Plus program, that program is all about giving you everything you need in the real estate space from an education and content perspective. I built this 11 years ago, really just to help support real estate investors. And so in the Think Realty Plus program, you get access to our magazine that's on the shelves of Barnes & Noble, has great economists and data and information in there every single month. You also get access to our resident experts, people that come on every single month. They'll teach you various things, just like she was talking about with whether it's subject to and creative finance, or it's how do I find an apartment deal to get involved in or syndication, something like that. Our resident experts are there to help support you and speak about the deals they are doing. We only bring resident experts on that actually do the deals. They're not paid educators. They're people that are investors. And lastly, you get access to all of our conferences. We do 2 physical conferences a year, and we do 1 virtual conference. And you get a ticket for you and a guest. And all that's $14.99 a month. We try to keep it as low as possible. You can go to thinkrealty.com, use the code LAUNCH, get it for $14.99 a month. And you can get all that we have to offer because we want to support you along your investing journey. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you can, share the content with those that you know will need it. And always comment back and let us know what you like or what you want more of. Have a great day. Thanks, Think Realty, for being a part of our lives. We love being a part of yours.